Ciudad Juarez, a busy city right on the border, has a really sad secret. Hundreds of women and girls have disappeared or been killed just because they are women. This city, which is right across from El Paso, Texas, is known as the main spot for femicide in Mexico. Femicide isn't just murder, it's when women are specifically and brutally killed, leaving families heartbroken and desperate for answers. Since the early 1990s, the number of women killed or missing has gone way up, with estimates saying it's well over 1,000. These women were factory workers, students, moms, and daughters, now remembered by pink crosses scattered across the desert. The violence is still happening. In 2023 alone, Juarez had 25 femicides, which is a sad increase from the year before. Even after many years of people trying to help and international attention, women in Juarez are still in danger. Every walk home, every trip to work is filled with fear. This story will look into why this problem started, talk about important cases, and show the mistakes that let it keep going. The names and stories of these women must not be forgotten. Their memories keep the fight going for a future where no more women are lost. The femicide problem in Juarez really blew up in the early 1990s. This happened because of big changes in money and the growth of factories called maquiladoras after NAFTA. Thousands of young women moved to the city for factory jobs. They worked long hours for very little money and had to travel on dangerous roads. They were alone and easy targets. Their disappearances were often ignored by the police, who blamed the victims and took a long time to investigate. This lack of care sent a message: violence against women would not be punished. The killings followed a troubling pattern. Young women with dark hair, many of them factory workers, were found tortured and killed in the desert. The official responses were quiet, investigations were messed up, and the cycle of violence kept going. Between 1993 and 2007, 447 femicides were officially recorded in Chihuahua. But people working to help believe the real number is much higher. The violence got worse with the drug war, but the cruelty of femicide was different. It came from a deep hatred of women. The problem became a permanent scar on the city, with not being punished causing more violence. The murders of women in Juarez are not random. They happen because of a system that doesn't value women's lives. This is the problem that activists and families are still fighting to change. The Cottonfield case was a big change in Juarez's history. In November 2001, the bodies of 8 young women were found in an empty field, showing years of official neglect and bad work. Families who were ignored and blamed by the police took their fight to the Inter-American Court of Human Rights. In 2009, the court found Mexico guilty of not protecting the victims and ordered big changes. This important decision made the government admit that there was a pattern of violence against women and that they were responsible. The Cottonfield case became a symbol of fighting back and hoping for fairness. It was the first time an international group said Mexico was responsible for femicide. But for many families, getting justice was still very hard. In March 2024, the Mexican government said sorry in public, which is rare, for its mistakes in the case of Silvia Elena Rivera Morales and others. Silvia Elena was only 17 when she disappeared. Years later, her body and the bodies of other victims were found, but justice was not given for a long time. The apology came after a very critical report by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. This report showed delays, messed up investigations, and ignored clues. For families, the apology was a mixed feeling, a recognition of many years of pain and being ignored. It was a symbolic step, a small crack in the wall of not being punished. However, the apology came after many years of struggle, threats, and pressure from other countries. The case shows the deep-seated problems in Mexico's justice system. Real justice needs more than just words. It needs real action to solve these crimes and stop future sad events. The fight for holding people accountable continues, pushed by families who refuse to be quiet. Their never-giving-up attitude is slowly making the government face its mistakes. Femicide in Juarez isn't just something from the past, it's a danger right now. In July 2025, a 17-year-old American girl from New Mexico known as DCLG became the latest victim. She traveled to Juarez to visit someone she knew and was kidnapped. Her family soon got demands for money and scary pictures. Days later, her body was found buried in a backyard in Juarez. She had been strangled. Her murder sent shockwaves across the border, a clear reminder that violence in Juarez doesn't stop at the border. The police treated her case as femicide, not just a kidnapping that went wrong. The investigation was moved to a special unit, but for her family it was too late. DCLG's death is part of a growing pattern. Americans are being targeted more and more in Juarez. Her story is a chilling reminder of the city's ongoing problem. Even after many years of attention, Juarez is still a dangerous place for women. The danger is changing, but the main reasons are still the same. Each new victim is a call to action that we can't ignore. The justice system in Juarez has let its women down again and again. Families who report missing loved ones are met with people who don't care and delays. Important hours are lost. Investigations are messy, evidence gets lost, crime scenes are messed up, and forensic work is done badly. Corruption and bad work are deep-seated, with officials sometimes protecting criminals or taking bribes. Many families are forced to investigate on their own, risking their lives to find answers. This culture where people aren't punished makes killers bolder. Most femicide cases are never solved, and very few people are found guilty. The message is clear. Women's lives don't matter as much. Until this pattern is broken, the violence will continue. Justice isn't just about punishing people. It's about bringing back trust and protecting those who are easily hurt. The fight for holding people accountable is far from over. The criminal situation in Juarez is always changing. In recent years, kidnappers have started targeting not just migrants, but also people who live in the city and U.S. citizens. As fewer migrants came, criminal groups changed their ways, attacking anyone they saw as easy targets or profitable. The murder of the American teen in 2025 is part of this new trend. She was targeted not because she was a migrant, but because she was a visitor. The FBI has reported more kidnappings of U.S. citizens in Juarez, showing a growing danger. Organized crime in the city takes advantage of situations, changing with law enforcement and money changes. For women, the danger is now double targeted because of their gender, and because of what people think is their money or connections. The web of risk is more complicated than ever. These trends make Juarez an even more dangerous place for women and visitors alike. The need for good protection and changes has never been more urgent. Amidst all the violence, a group of determined activists has grown in Juarez. Mothers, sisters, and friends of the disappeared have become the city's conscience, demanding fairness and remembrance. They march, paint pink crosses, and hold gatherings to remember, refusing to let their loved ones be forgotten. Their efforts have brought international attention to the problem, even as they face threats and violence. Groups like Nuestras Hijas de Regreso a Casa help families and pressure the police for answers. Speaking out is dangerous. Activists like Isabel Cabanillas have been killed for being brave. Still, the movement continues, driven by sadness and determination. The voices of the murdered and the missing echo through the city, inspiring others to keep fighting. These activists are the heart of the resistance against femicide. Their courage makes sure the world can't look away. The story of Juarez is one of pain, strength, and a constant demand for fairness. Cases like Sylvia Elena Rivera Morales, the Cottonfield victims, and the murdered American teen are not just separate events. They show a system built on hatred of women and not punishing criminals. The government's recent apology is a start, but justice is still out of reach for most families. Corruption, powerful criminal groups, and changing crime trends make the fight even harder. Yet, families and activists refuse to give up, driven by love and the hope of change. Real change needs pressure from other countries, professional police work, and a promise to end femicide. We must remember the victims, not just as numbers, but as lives that were taken too soon. Their stories must be told again and again until justice is real, not just a dream. The fight for justice in Juarez is a fight for human rights everywhere. Stay informed, support the cause, and help keep these voices alive. Together, we can make sure the missing women of Juarez are never forgotten.